Good evening, everyone again. Can you listen to me?
Good
Yes,
evening, teacher.
good evening.
Good evening, teacher.
Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to continue with this module 9, as you can see on the slide. This is module 9, just one module. I'm just getting to the end of this specialization program. All right. So as you know, today we're going to finish with this 9 module related to teaching vocabulary. No, this is the topic of this session. This is the second part, no, because the last session we were talking about this. No, this is where are we going to start with the class. We are going to make feedback, a review about what we taught last week. All right. So here, remember, we were talking about what is vocabulary, and we talked about 3 major aspects in vocabulary. Can you remember? Can you remember the 3 major aspects in order to analyze or to know about a word? No, vocabulary is related to words. Can you remember?
Yeah, it's the form, meaning,
Uh-huh.
and use.
Exactly. Uh-huh. So here we're going to talk about the form, different components, the spoken, written, and the word parts, the meaning. Again, you have here components, the meaning, the form, the concept of reference, associations, and also the use, no? Grammatical functions, collocations, or constraints on use. No? So here you have these different components related to words. No? Remember that the vocabulary is the words that we manage, no, to produce something, no, to produce the language. So we're going to teach, or we are going to acquire these words to produce, messages, ideas, anything else. No? So related to the form, remember we talked about how you pronounce it, how is it formed, the parts, the components of the word. In the meaning, what is the concept, the definition, the use, where can you find this word, in which situations can you use it according to the meaning. No, remember that we were talking about that a word has different meanings. No, sometimes a word has different meanings according to the context you're using. No, according to the place you're using in a sentence or as a function of the word. So it's important to know these aspects in a word, in a bigger aspect in the vocabulary. No? Then we were talking about the components of the vocabulary. What kind of words could we have in a vocabulary, right? So we were talking about single words, then compound words, multi-word units or lexical chunks, also collocations or word partnerships. So we have these different kind of words, single words, compound words when you join two words, multi-word units or lexical chunks. So you have some words connected with each other. Collocations or word partnerships. Again, you have 3 or 4 words together that they are more or less fixed, that you're going to use them together. So these are the different kinds of words that is composed of vocabulary or a lexicon. No? Now, we also talk about that when we talk about words, we are going to talk about some complex units, no, complex phenomenon. Why? Because words have different functions. No? As we were talking, a word could be a verb, an adjective, or a noun, or a or an adverb. So they are going to have different functions inside a sentence. Then the same word can have a variety of forms. Words can be added to or combined to form new words. Words commonly co-occur with other words. No, we are going to put together some words. Then words may look and or sound the same but have quite different meanings. One word may have a variety of overlapping meanings. Different words may share similar meanings or may have opposite meanings. Notice here all the aspects, all the characteristics of words. That's why we say that they are complex, no? Because we're gonna have different functions with words, different forms. You can combine, you can join words to make a new one. You can place some words together. Some words are the same in the spelling or in the pronunciation. Maybe they change meaning, some of them change meaning, others not. Also, words have different meanings according to the context that you're using it. And also, some words share similar meanings or have opposite meanings. So notice here, all the different analysis of different aspects that we could find in words. That's why we have here these categories, no? Can you remember these categories? For example, word classes. Tell me, what does it mean, word classes?
Is similar to part of speech.
Excellent. The part of a speech. That's right. The different type of words that we could have or we could use in order to make a sentence, no? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, prepositions, conjunctions, etc. These are the word classes. And what about the word families? What was it about? Word families? Try to remember, try to remember. Word classes, different type of words, different types of words. Word families,
It comprises the base word plus inflections and its most common derivatives.
yes,
For example, play, replay, player,
exactly.
playful.
That's it, very good. Word families, remember, we're going to have a root, a base word, remember, root to base word or lexeme, no? Remember that we were talking about lexemes, no? They are the base, the basic word. Then you could add some prefixes, suffixes, and you can make other words too, no? As your partner says, play, replay, or player. Notice, play is a verb. You add a ER, this is a suffix. So you change the word, right? From verb to noun. Play,
Player.
player. So you are creating another word. Notice, you're creating another word, but based on a root. Remember, on a root, on a base word, or an lexeme, and you add other parts, and you are creating new words. No, so this is the word families. Remember, word families is when you make words from a base word. What about the other two? Content words and function words. What is the difference between content and function words?
Content words are the words which carry on information.
Exactly. That's it. They carry an information, a definition, a content, no? That's why the name says all, no? Content. So they have a content, they have a definition, they carry information. And what about the function words? What about the function words?
Words that contribute to the grammatical function.
Yes, that's it. No, they just have a grammatical function inside a sentence. No, they serve us to connect the content words. No, these are the function words. Function words, we have prepositions, conjunctions, articles, determiners, and so on. No? Content words, we have nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. So we have four, all right? Four types of content words: noun, verb, adjective, and adverb. Function words, we have prepositions, conjunctions, determiners, pronouns, modals, no, the auxiliary verbs. So all of them are function words. Very good. What about synonyms and antonyms? Synonyms, antonyms. What is a
Synonyms,
synonym?
synonyms are those
Synonyms
words who
with the same meaning.
Same meaning.
Exactly. Yeah,
These are
words.
words that share the same meaning.
Yeah, they share a same meaning or a similar meaning. No, some cases not so the same is similar meaning. All right, the same or similar meaning. And the antonyms?
words that means the opposite.
Different meaning.
Exactly. Opposite meanings of different meanings. That's right. What about this, the other two, the other pair? Homonyms and polysims.
The same
Homonyms equal
different.
meaning.
No.
Yeah. Homonym,
Equal writing, different meaning.
Yes.
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Homonyms,
Equal
different
writing,
Homonyms
writing.
have the
different
same
meaning.
form.
The same writing and different means.
Uh-huh. All
These
right.
are
Teacher,
these are words
homonyms
that
have the
share the
same
same form
form.
but have unrelated meaning.
Yeah. All right. So notice here, don't forget about it. Homonyms, we have the same writing but unrelated meanings, all right? They have unrelated meanings. And
Yes.
what about the polysims?
These are words that have multiple but relate meanings.
Yes, words which have different meanings, but their meanings are related. They are not so completely different, right? So they have a small difference, but they have a relationship. No? They are connected in the meaning, all right? So you could use it in different contexts, but the meaning is not so far from, all right? So they are connected. They have a relation, okay? So notice, don't forget about these two words, homonyms and polysims. What about the other twos? Homophones and homographs.
Teacher, the homophones have the same sound
Mhm.
but different spelling.
Yes, the same sound, different spelling. Excellent, that's it. You write here these words differently, but you pronounce them equal. And what about the homographs?
These are words that have the same writing but a different pronunciation.
Exactly, that's right, exactly. So we have here words which are written the same, but you pronounce differently. And what about the last two? Hyponyms and subordinate terms and lexical fields. What are the hyponyms and subordinated terms and lexical fields? Anybody? Hyponyms, subordinated terms, and lexical fields.
Superordinated terms acts as an umbrella term that includes within it other words with related meanings.
Yes, no, so you could say that here you apply the categorization, no? General categorization. So this is the hyponyms. And when we talk about hyponyms, we're talking about the superordinate terms, no? So words which cover, no? Which cover a general category, and inside this category you could find different items, no? So we saw
Like an umbrella.
yeah, like an umbrella, exactly. That's it, no? So for example, you have, no? Furniture is the word. This is the subordinated terms. Inside furniture, so we have chair, table, armchair, cupboard, no, and so on. So different words that are connected to the same subordinated term or category, no? And what about the lexical fields? Lexical fields.
Lexical fields, teacher, have the same semantic relationship.
Exactly. Words which have the same relationship according to the theme, not the topic. All right. Notice here, when we talk about hyponyms and lexical fields, sometimes they are kind of similar, no? Because we have some general terms, some general word, and inside we have some words which are related to this, no? But the difference, notice here, when we talk about hyponyms and superordinated terms, generally we are talking about a whole and parts, or a unit and different items, no? Or different types. But when we talk about lexical fields, it's more than that. They are not only a part, a whole and parts, or a unit and different types. No, maybe other words which are connected to this idea, to that thing, not to that topic. So this is the difference with these hyponyms and lexical fields. Now, for example, a simple example in order to differentiate this is, let's imagine that we are going to talk about houses. Houses is the term, the superordinate term. So if we want to talk about hyponyms, we could say detached house, cottage, apartment, or flat. So I'm giving you different types of house or places to live, no? Right? A cottage, detached house, block apartments, or flats. So notice here. But when we talk about lexical field, we could add, notice, we could add other words related to houses. We could say warm house, or cozy, or big house, enormous, two-floor house. Notice here, we are adding other words which are not parts, they are not parts of a whole, they are not items or different types of houses. So adjectives which could describe houses. No, you describe, oh, this is a cozy house. No, cozy, remember that is warm, is comfortable, no? So this is the meaning of cozy. So notice, these are lexical field. Related to the example that we have seen in the last week, no? So here we saw the last week. So we talked about the term Christmas, no? Yeah, Christmas is the topic, the theme. So which words are related to Christmas? Oh, turkey, sweet cake, no, gifts, no? So, and also,
Fireworks.
yes, fireworks. Notice, they are not parts of Christmas, so they are not different types of Christmas, no? So we are talking about words which have an association, words which you have in mind when you think, Christmas, yeah, so sweet cake, gifts, fireworks, and so on, no? So notice the difference between hyponyms and subordinated terms and lexical field. All right, so here you have these different types of words. Remember, you have this complex phenomenon, no? That we are gonna have words with different functions. We're gonna have words with different meanings. Some of them unrelated, some of them with a kind of relationship. Words which are pronounced the same, but with the spelling differently, or you write the same, but you pronounce differently. Notice, we have a lot of aspects when we talk about words. Now, then we talked about these specific aspects in order to learn or remember words. No, we're going to use our short-term store that we use just for just some seconds. The working memory, here we're going to reason, learn, understand on this part of the memory. And finally, we have like the long-term memory. This is a kind of filling system. No, you are going to keep our words, our lexicon, no? The mental lexicon for a long time. And in order to develop this memory, so we're going to use some strategies, no? Repetition, retrieval, spacing, pacing, use, cognitive depth, personal organizing, imagine, mnemonics, motivation, attention. For example, today we're going to talk about different strategies, different techniques in order to teach or present vocabulary, and we're going to talk about these terms. Then we're going to analyze it. So let's start with the topic of today, how to present and teach vocabulary. One of the most important aspects to present and teach vocabulary is to build the context. When we talk about building the context, we are going to add as much interest as possible. So it means that we are going to motivate. Remember the last slide. Some strategies to make these words be remembered, no? Be remembered in our mind is motivation. So when you talked about build the context, means that you are going to add interest. You're going to motivate. You are going to make your students be interested in this kind of vocabulary you are teaching or presenting. So we are going to elicit, notice, elicit. We are going to encourage them to know new words, new vocabulary. So this is one of the important aspects when we talk about presenting and teaching vocabulary. The other one is to teach form and meaning. Remember, when we talk about the three aspects related to vocabulary, form, meaning, and use. So here we are going to teach them form and meaning. Teach how words are pronounced and teach how words are written. This is very important. And teach the meaning. Another one is to check understanding. It means ask students to use the word in a sentence. This is one of the ways to check if they are understanding these new words. Use concept question, so you can ask for some definitions or try to define or try to give some synonyms, or antonyms. So we are checking here the concept. So that's why here says use concept questions. Another one is to practice vocabulary. Notice, first we build the context, then we teach them the form and meaning, then we check understanding, then we practice the vocabulary. So here we're going to give a controlled practice to our students, and also freer practice. Controlled practice means that you're going to give them some activities that you're going to guide. You're going to give some indications or some models or some patterns, and they are going to follow this. This is a controlled practice. Freer practice, so you give them the opportunity to use words with any other pattern, with any other context. That's why here says freer practice, freer practice. So we have two ways in order to practice the vocabulary, in a controlled way or in a free way. Another one is the review. You could use review games at the beginning of a class, or you could use them in order to recap these words at the end of a class. So you could use at the beginning and also at the end of a class. For example, if you use it at the beginning, notice here the word, you're making a review, related to the previous class. And finally, you can test. This is optional. You can test. So it means that you're going to give a feedback and retest if needed. No, you can check your students couldn't understand or couldn't get these new words, so you can test it again. No? So notice all the aspects when we are going to present and teach vocabulary. Build the context, teach formal meaning, check understanding. Notice check understanding, you're checking the use. That's what here says, no? Ask students to use the word in a sentence. You have here the three aspects, no? Form, meaning, and use. Then you practice this vocabulary in a controlled way or in a freer way. Then you make a review using games or using some activities at the beginning of a class or at the end of the class. No, the beginning as a review and at the end as a recap. Finally, you can make with this a feedback or test or retest if it is needed. No? Okay, so notice here the different aspects that we are going to talk about when we present and teach vocabulary. All right, but now we are going to reduce these aspects in three ones. The first step in order to present or teach, as here the name says, present new words. You're going to present the new vocabulary. The second step is that you need to help students remember these words. All right? Not just presenting and that's it. No, so you have to make your students, so you have to help students remember these words. And finally, step 3, make sure students make the new words their own. So they appropriate. And then notice that when we talk about this term, no, appropriation. So they need the language to be appropriated in order to use. If you don't appropriate these words, so you are not going to use it, means that you're going to forget them. That's why here says to make these new words their own. So they are going to appropriate these words in order to use them. So notice here the 3 different steps that we are going to follow when we teach vocabulary. No? The first one, presentation. You present words. Second, some activities, some tasks that you could use to students to remember these words. And finally, to make your students these words appropriated. No? So they are going to appropriate these new words or these new vocabulary. All right, so now we are going to analyze different ways that we are going to do each step. Step 1, present new words. So here we are going to use visual aids in order to present new words. This is one of the strategies, one of the techniques that we're going to use to present new words. Another one is using gestures and actions. So you're going to use your gestures and some activities, not some actions that you make your students to move, to do something, no? The other one is by guessing or predicting. Notice, you're going to present vocabulary by guessing. They are going to guess what is the new word, what is the new vocabulary. They are going to predict what are the new words, so what is the new vocabulary that they are going to learn or acquire. The other one is to put words in context. All right, you're going to use these words in context, not in isolation, not separated, no one by one, in a context. The other form is showing lexical relations. No, when we talk about lexical relations, we're talking about synonyms, antonyms, hyponyms, no? So these are the lexical relations, homonyms, polysims. No, we are going to talk about it. Collocations, idioms. So all of them are lexical relations. All right. So we're going to show our students the lexical relations. And finally, we're going to use other techniques because we're going to talk about each one, yeah, in a separated way. So notice here the different forms, the different ways that we could present new words, new vocabulary. First, you could use visual aids. You can make your students to guess, to predict. You can use words in context. You can use gestures and actions. You can show your students lexical relations. And finally, any other technique. For example, we have the other one that is also used, no? That is translation, or to write definitions. No? So here you have this one. So let's start with the first one, using visual aids. As you can see here, we have different visual aids. You could use realia, pictures, masking, drawing, scales. For example, realia, as you know, realia is when we use real objects, no, real things. This is realia. As you can see here in this classroom, no, you have some bottles, you have some like toys that seems real, no, like this a mouse or mice, no. Pictures, as you can see here, you have some pictures. Masking, when you use mask. For example, you use this when you teach, for example, emotions, feelings, no? And you use your masks or faces. No? Drawings, you could draw, and also the scales. No? I'm going to show you any other ones here. No? For example, you have on the first picture, you have drawings, pictures, plums, pears, apples, oranges, cherries, bananas, apricots, lemons. Notice here the teacher is using pictures or drawings, and on the other side you have the words. No? You give the words to the students. On the other side is same drawing, no? The teacher uses drawing, so the teacher starts drawing. Also here you have the other ones related to family, no? Aunt and uncle, grandmother, grandfather, mother and father, cousins, brother and sister. So you could use here like a tree, no? A family tree, using these pictures, these drawings. Notice here, this is one of the ways that we could use to present vocabulary, no? Using visual aids, no? Visual aids, picture, drawings, mask, all of them, no? Scales. This is the first one. Then, the other one is using gestures and actions. For example, we have here mime, a gesture, facial expression, action. So you could use your face, no? You could use some orders or commands to talk about some vocabulary, no? And they are going to do something, or you could use here songs, no, in order to make your students to move, no? For example, here we usually use the TPR, no? This famous method that we usually use for children, little kids, the TPR, the total physical response. They're going to use some instructions, maybe as a statement, or maybe as a song, as a chant, as a rhyme, or as a poem. So you could use this, no? And they are going to do something. Remember, action. They are going to do something. One of the most common techniques is this game, no? For example, you use this game. Have you ever played this game? Charades?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
For
In
example, I
Spanish.
use this thingy, this strategy a lot. No, for example, when I talked about verbs, I separate my class in 2 groups or 3 groups. And one volunteer is the leader. And this person is going to make some gestures of mine, and the other members of the group are going to guess what is the word, right? So the student here is doing something, right? Is doing something. He's moving, no? He's moving, and the other students must guess what the word is. So notice here, this is another form to present and teach vocabulary using gestures and actions. The other one is showing your students lexical relations. Here you have, as I was talking to you, synonyms, antonyms, collocations, prefixes, and suffixes. So here we have the word families. Now remember, when we talk about prefixes and suffixes, we are talking about word families. So we are going to show this contrast between words, or some words that go together. No, when we talk about collocations, are words that usually go together. Prefixes and suffixes that we are going to add some parts to a base word, to a basic word, and you create a new one. For example, here, this activity, no, this is a role synonym. So you draw some pictures, no, you print some pictures similar to a roll, no, this cake, this is a special cake, not a roll, and you put words, and your students need to find, no, here the synonyms. Also this one, no, the antonym, no, the ant. So you separate the word, no, the antonym technique. So you use pictures with ants in order to make reference that you are talking about antonyms, no, antonyms. So you generous, stingy, or melt, on freeze, and you have this, no, and yeah, ant. What the teacher ant? Because we're talking about antonyms. So notice here these strategies, no? So you use them in order to teach your students synonyms or antonyms, and you are presenting vocabulary, right? You are teaching vocabulary, but as a presentation. Also, you could use this one. I don't know if you have used this before, a spinner, a vocabulary spinner. If you can see here, you have some categories, no? Spell it, synonym or antonym, act it out. So you could use the previous one using gestures or mimes. Act it out, use it in a sentence, notice, draw a picture, or define it. So notice here, with this spinner, you make your students to do different things when they have a word. When they have this word, you could use this also as a presentation, but also in order to practice words, no? You could use this strategy or technique to practice words, to make your students remember words, no? So you spin this wheel, and for example, no, yeah, the teacher presents a new word, knowledge. Yeah, and the teacher spins, and the arrow goes to act it out. So one student must act this word similar to a charade, and the other students must guess, no? Oh, yeah, knowledge, yeah. So maybe the student starts acting as he were studying and makes the hand into their mind, no, in order to put into there some knowledge so they can guess. Notice here, and notice here, how can you teach them, how can you present vocabulary using this spinner, all right? You could create it with cardboards, but also you can do it online. There are some web pages that you could find. You could write on Google, online spinner, and you could use it. Also on PowerPoint, you can create a spinner. Next module, I'm going to teach you how to create a spinner on PowerPoint. And then we are going to talk about it. When we pass to the 10 module, because we're going to talk about technology, the ICT, so we are going to talk about some programs that are going to help you in order to teach, using technology. And you could create a spinner on PowerPoint, so you could use it for many different forms. All right, then I'm going to teach you how to create a spinner to use it in class. All right, so notice here, we are giving our students the difference between these words. If they are synonyms, antonyms, also you could use the prefixes or suffixes in order to create words. But also, we have the collocations. It's very important. Notice the difference when we talk about synonyms, antonyms, or prefixes and suffixes. If we analyze, if we can realize, these words are presented in isolation, right? So one word, no? Happy, sad. So word. But when we talk about collocations, we are going to join 2 or 3 words together. And we are going to make these words or multi-words. No? One of the techniques that we could use is the board races. No? This is one of the most common, to make your students go to the board and write something. For example, you could divide the whiteboard in 2. One side has the word get and the other side has the word have. Imagine that you are teaching them some collocations related to these verbs, get and have. So we have some usually phrases that go with these verbs, no? Teacher gives a list of 20 words in a white paper such as married, lunch, drunk, breakfast. Notice, you give a list of phrases of words which could be connected with the verbs have or get. Both the students are given 2 marks and they have to go to the whiteboard, and under a minute, one of them write as many words as he or she can use in the collocation get, and the other one as many as he or she can with the collocation have. So this is like a contest, no? That's why here says races. Who wins or who writes in 1 minute? No, with these phrases, these collocations. Notice you're practicing here, you're showing your students the collocations related to the verb get and the verb have. No? Get drunk or have get married, have lunch. Notice these are called collocations. Some words that usually go together. These are the collocations. And one way to present vocabulary to our students is using the board. All right? You could use the board. All right? Another one is choose your side. Notice here, choose your side. Oh, yeah, no, yes. I admitted, yeah. There's nobody in the waiting room. I admitted them. Okay, so here you have this. The teacher divides the classroom by tapping a line on the floor. One side belongs to the go category and the other one to the make category. So here you have now the verbs go and the verb make. And you tap a line on the floor, or maybe with a chalk or with a marker, you divide a class in 2 sides, no? One side for the go, one side for the make. Students stand on the line as they wait for instructions. So you make your students stand on the line in order to listen carefully to the instructions, what the teacher says. Teacher says a word such as the dishes. So they have to move to the go side or to the make side. So the student moves to the right spot, either make or go. The same dynamic is repeated with words such homework, exercises, and other. And notice here, you are teaching them this with action, with movements, not in a place that they are sit. No, no. So they are going to move, all right? They are going to move. Another one is the collocation mingle. Teacher prepares a set of confusing collocations such as fast car or fast train, quick receipt, quick decision, paid a visit, and paid a compliment. You will give part of the collocation to one student. For example, a student will be given the word fast, while another one is given the word train. Students have to stand up and approach others by asking what they have and make a connection if possible. So now they are going to match, but not this matching on a paper. Notice, because we usually use this matching with a paper. No, yeah, match the word with the phrase to make a collocation. No, they are going to move. Notice, they are going to stand up. So you give one part of this collocation to one student and the other part to another student, and they are going to find their partner. Yeah, so what's the word? Yeah, you go with me. Yeah, this is the collocation. This is another collocation. So they are moving. Notice, they are doing something. This is very important. And they can make this relationship, to make these words together, and they are creating or checking up the collocation. All right, and then you can expand it, Then you can expand it. Once everyone has a pair, students in pairs talk and make sentences with it. Okay, so this is expanding, So you can increase. You can use them in a free way. Notice, the first one is a control, because you're going to give them some instructions. Then as a free, because then they're going to talk, they are going to make sentences with it. No, no tengo ninguno ahorita. Sí admití hace un momento, pero no hay ni uno. No tengo ahorita, porque ahorita estoy viendo los participantes y no tengo a ninguna persona que esté tratando de ingresar. Hace un momento sí, sí les di el permiso, pero ahorita no. Ahorita no tengo a ninguna persona para darle permiso. Sí, no, no hay, Okay, so here you have this collocation mingle. Remember the collocation mingle. So they are going to move around and find a partner in order to match the correct collocation, right? Yeah, the other one. Here we have the fake WhatsApp conversations. Nowadays, you know that our students are so related to this social network, this social platform that is the WhatsApp. So we could use it. We could use it in order to teach them, to present them some collocations. Teacher introduces the topic by providing examples of collocation with win, beat, gain, and earn. Teacher tells the students to install a fake chat conversation application. Then teachers ask them to make a fake chat conversations using some of the collocations already introduced in step 1. Learners can share the conversation with the rest of the classmates so they can have practical examples of the use of this collocation in context. For example, here you have one, Hello, Linda. Hello. Do you have $100 that I can borrow? Notice you use the word borrow. Oh, I didn't earn any money. Earn. Talk to Tony. He might have some. Tony doesn't even like me. So notice they start chatting, no? They start chatting with this WhatsApp. No, you can give them some here if they don't have the opportunity to use the cell phones, so they can create by drawing. So maybe you can give them the framework in order to simulate that they are chatting by WhatsApp, no? And they start writing, no? They start writing or using these words together. Ahora sí, now I have here one, Hilda. Okay, Hilda is admitted. Yeah, let's pass to the other one. Oh, what happened? Yeah. Another way is this famous game, no? Bingo. Teacher introduces the topic by providing examples of collocation with being, beat again, and earn. So teachers creates a bingo online, so you can create it manually by hand, or you can use a web page, no, in order to create your bingo cards. No, here you have one of these web pages, no, my free bingo cards website. Then I'm gonna show you the web page. Teachers send a link with the bingo cards to students. So this web page permits us to play this bingo virtually. All right, you don't need to print the cards. You can play them virtually. Teacher mentions the name of the different collocations with go, do, and play. The student who has a full card wins. So this is one example. And notice this is a bingo card, but it's virtual. It's not printed. As you can see here, you have these icons, no? Home, create, print, help, new card. So this is a bingo, but it's online, no? And here you have the topic that is go, play, and do. Go cycling, do yoga, play chess, do exercises, play soccer, play tennis, do squats, no? Go fishing, go surfing. So you have these ones, okay? Then I'm gonna show you the web page. The other part is to use words in context. All right, we are going to use the words in context using dialogues, role plays, drama, stories, songs, rhymes, and poems, and also videos. For example, here you have one. No, you have these vocabulary inside sentences. Name, my brother's name is Tom. Great, my sister is really great. Want to, he wants to sing. Rest, my brother wants to rest. Call, they call him biker. The other one, I think is very small, but maybe you can see, you can watch it. Using here a poem, no? This is especially to use for children. My different feelings. Notice you're talking about feelings. I'm very mad when I break a toy. I'm very sad when the fun ends. I'm very glad when I see my friends. I have so many different feelings. This is a very simple poem, and you're teaching your students feelings and also the word very, no? I am very mad. I'm very sad. I'm very glad. So you are teaching two types, no? The vocabulary of feelings and also the intensifier, no? The intensifier, very, very sad, very glad, very mad. So notice here you're using a poem. Then you have songs that I know that you use a lot, no? Songs. But notice here that you are talking about vocabulary. For example, in the first exercise, what the students need to do, match the phrases with their meanings. So you're making your students to match these words, these phrases to the meanings. Then on the second exercise, they have to complete a crossword. But this case is related to words, but with a grammatical aspect, no? Because they are going to practice the past participle, right? Of the following verbs. Because the principal topic here is the present perfect, no? This is the grammatical aspect. But you're using this vocabulary aspect too, no? Because they need to learn what is the form of the past particle, regular or irregular, right? So this is vocabulary too, but it has a connection with the grammar part. No? And finally, you have a reading. This is another way to exposure to vocabulary to our students. They are going to read some simple tests. Here, for example, you have a kind of short summary related to the group, to the singer, no, and also to some songs, no, related to the song. We are the champions. Notice the different exercises that you could use inside a song to teach, to present the new vocabulary. And the other one is to use dialogues, role plays, no, dramas. For example, make a bet. Notice, do you want to make a bet? What kind of bet? I bet that I will get a higher score than you on our math test tomorrow. You sound pretty confident. I am. I studied instead of watching TV all week. What do I get if I win the bet? I let you feed my iguana. What happens if I lose? You have to clean my iguana's cage. So notice here, this teacher is presenting this vocabulary, but inside a conversation, inside a dialogue. And then notice the second part. Do you think this is a fair bet? When do you feel confident? Do you like to make bets with your friends? And then they are going to produce something. In this case, very simple. Make a sentence, I instead of. Notice all the vocabulary that is presented on the dialogue in the conversation is reinforced in the questions and the sentence that they are going to produce. So notice here, the words are not presented in isolation. No? Notice the other ones. The words were presented in isolation, one by one. But here, no, they are in a context. That's why here says words in context, because we're going to use dialogues, role plays, drama, it's bigger one, stories, songs, rhymes, poems, and also videos. No, you can make your students watch some videos and pre-teach some vocabulary, no, in order to understand better the video that you're going to show them. So notice here the different techniques that you're going to use. Now, the other is guessing and predicting. Try to guess the meaning of the underlying words. No, I think this is for more advanced level students. These kind of exercises for most advanced level students. The children were bleeping all over the ground. Oh, sorry. A country girl was walking along the snare with a ruggle of milk over her head. So they are going to read the context. No, these are extracts. These are extracts of a test. And they are going to read the test and they are going to guess or try to predict, no? What is the meaning of this word, no? Maybe you can say, yeah, what is the type of word? So they have to analyze the sentence. Oh, teacher, I think this is a verb. Why? Because it's with the ing and also we have the verb be as an auxiliary. And what about snare? What is the word snare? It's a noun, it's a verb, it's an adjective. Oh, teacher, this is a noun. Because you have the article da. Notice you can practice not just the meaning, you can make guess the different types of words. No? Maybe you have the li. So how do you know this is another? Oh, teacher, because you have the li. No? Happy, happily. Yeah, this is another because you have li. So they recognize the formation of words. No? So notice here, you can practice many things here using this guessing and predicting. And as I told you, other techniques is using a dictionary, explaining, describing, defining the context, and translating. No? For example, I don't know if you have used this technique. This is called the four square. And you use with a picture dictionary, four square. So it's in order to make your students have a glossary, a kind of glossary, and they can have more information, no, to your students. For example, you write a word here, for example, walk. Yeah, what is the definition of walk? Draw a picture. They need to draw. Notice, they need to draw something related to walk. Using a sentence, so they are going to write a sentence. And list of synonyms. So they are going to write synonyms related to the word that you are given. So notice, I advise you to do this. This is very important because they keep like a glossary, as I told you, no? And they can, oh yeah, this word, yeah, I have it here in my picture dictionary Foursquare. Now, oh yeah, this is the meaning, this is a synonym. Okay, yeah, I got it. I can remember. So notice here, this is very important, no? In order to give your students a lexicon, no? Remember, lexicon is the group of words. Now, and the other one, for more advanced level students, you could use this, the dictionary skills. This is for more advanced level students. So you give a model, no, you have the word dictionary, you have the pronunciation, you have the part of a speech, and finally you have the definition. So look at the example above. It is an example of dictionary entry, no? In order to use the dictionary properly. Notice that a dictionary tells you more than the definition of a word. Label the entry below. And so they have to label, no? Yeah, this is the word, this is the pronunciation, this is the part of the speech and the definition. And then you give them again a word and they have to do the same, no? Now use a dictionary to find the pronunciation, part of the speech, and definition of the word below. As I told you, this is for more advanced levels of students, no? In order to analyze the word, no? Because for beginning, no, I think for the beginning or pre-intermediate, intermediate, you could use the previous one, no? This one, the Foursquare, no? With drawings, with sentences, with synonyms, and a very simple definition. Notice when we talk about definition, it doesn't mean that it must be long definition, no? A very simple one, no? A very simple one. Then they have to draw, no? They have to use in a sentence, or maybe a synonym or an antonym. It depends on you. No? This is just an idea, an example. No? You could just, for example, collocations, no? Or maybe you're working with idioms. Yeah, write 2 idioms with these words. No, 2 collocations with these words. So they have to complete. Notice this is called the Foursquare. Remember, Foursquare. Here you have this part, the step 2, help students remember. Remember that some previous activities are also used to make your students remember. Now, so as you can see, as you can realize, some activities you could use it as a presentation or in order to make your students remember. One of these is learning with friends, using memorizing and games and activities, and also using review games. Using memorizing games and activities. For example, you have giving directions, picture dictation, matching words, searching words, sequencing words, eliminating words, classifying words. Here you have one example of matching. No? This is a very common example of matching. So you show them some pictures and then you have other cards, the words, and they are going to match. No, this is completed. This is not incomplete. This is completed when the students finish the task. No? So they started matching. No? So you stick on the wall of the whiteboard or on the board in a disordered way, no? In a disordered way, and then you are going to match. No? They are going to match this. Also on the internet, you have a kind of similar game that is called mnemonics, using these cards, and they have to remember, no? They have to remember. A2, yeah, watermelon, and D5 is the picture. So you tick on the card, and this is reversed, and you can see the word of the picture, and they have to remember, no? But you could use it also on the board, no? You draw some pictures or you print some pictures, and you write a words and you put them in this order, and they are going to match. No, they are going to match these words. Also, you have these ones, the word search games, picture labeling, crosswords, bingo again. If you notice, bingo again, dominoes, puzzles, charts, or survey for their peers. So notice here, you have these games in order to review vocabulary. You have this one, no, for little kids that is very common, label a pet. So children must write these pictures with the correct words. No, here you have the bird, the fish, the cat. No, so they have to label. No, they have to label. The other one is the crosswords. No, as you can see here, no, school subjects, crossword, puzzle, worksheet. So you have some pictures, and according to the pictures and according to the number of the squares, so they need to write the correct word. So you're using the crosswords. You have here a word search. No, this is a word search. Occupations, vocabulary, word search puzzle. So they are going to recognize, no, they are going to find the words inside these letters, no, that are in this order. This is the word search. Another one is the service. Here I'm going to present you or give you this idea using online, no, an online service. We have different pages to make it online service. One of them is the Mentimeter. Mentimeter can be used to maximize the exposure of students to certain collocations. For example, now this is a Mentimeter. Mentimeter, you could use a pulse or service at the moment, no? And you are going to answer at the moment. For example, what did you do last week? This is the question. And you give your students the opportunity to choose, no? What did they do? I made an important decision, I made a contribution, I made a mistake, I made some progress, I made a phone call, I made a choice, I made an excuse. Notice these different options are related to a collocation. Collocations with a verb make. Make a decision, make a contribution, make a mistake, make some progress, make a phone call, make a choice, and make excuse. But they are going to answer online, no? They are going to use the platform or maybe the app, because you can install it on your cell phones too, and they are going to answer. So they are making this survey. Notice this is a survey, an online survey, to practice, no? To make your students remember this vocabulary, these collocations with the verb make. So as I told you before, we are going to analyze this on the next module, no? How to use these different platforms, no? Mentimeters. Also, you could use the famous Kahoot, no? Kahoot, you use Kahoot or quizzes or Quizlet, no? So you can use these platforms in order to make these kind of exercises, no, activities that make your students practice or remember, review this vocabulary that you have presented. All right, so you could use these online platform or web pages. Learning with friends. Here, when we learn with friends, so as a group, notice it's very important to make your students work in groups, not in isolation, because they can practice work with a classmate or in a group. They are going to socialize, they are going to discuss, they are going to give their ideas, to share their ideas, to give their opinions. So this is very important to make our students to your microphones, please. Don't forget to turn off your microphones. All right. So Teach a word to a member of the family or peer. This is another important thing to do, to ask to our students, to tell our students to teach a word to a member of the family, or maybe to a friend or a classmate or a neighbor, no? If they know that they are practicing English, they are studying English, so they can do that. Make and play word game with friends. This is another one, no? For example, there is a common game to practice vocabulary that is a Scrabble. Have you heard about a Scrabble? Scrabble?
No, teacher.
No. That you are giving some letters, and with these letters, you have to create words.
Yeah.
But you can get some points, extra points, according to the square you put the letter, right? And according to the letter, each letter has a number, 1, 2, 3. These are the points for each letter. For example, if you have the letter A, 2 points, the letter N, 4 points, and the letter T, 5 points. So you sum up, and you have 10 or 12, no? But if you place these letters into a specific square where it says, yeah, you doubled your points or you tripled your points, so your score is better, no? So this is a Scrabble. So they can play it. For example, I told to my students once, I remember once, because in the past the schools are not permitted cell phones, no? But I told them once to bring some cell phones because I asked for permission, and I made it to install this application. This is an app. You can use it. This is an app, Scrabble. And they play together. Yeah, so you're going to play. Yeah, you have 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, you're going to tell me how many points did you get. And that's it. No, you use it just for 10 minutes, no more, because then if the game is longer, you can be in the game the 20, 30, 40 minutes, but you can establish a time, no? Just 10 minutes, and that's it, no? So it's very important to do that, to play games with friends, to practice this. Peer test, this is another one that we could do, the peer test. For example, I use this kind of technique the university, because this is more advanced, no? So you present the vocabulary and you can ask your partner what's the meaning of, or what is the word for the definition. So you say the definition and the other student must say the word, no? This is a peer test, Notice, this is a peer test. So each student asks each other, about the meaning or about the definition, no? About the meaning or definition of the word, no? Vice versa. One student says the meaning, and the other student must guess what the word is, all right? Or you say the word, and the other student say the meaning. Yeah? So we call this a peer test. So they work together. Notice, they work together. And the other, this is a step 3. This is here a mistake, step 2. This is step 3. Make sure students make new words their own vocabulary record system and personalizing new words. So here you have the vocabulary record system, have vocabulary books. You could make your students to create it in an alphabetical order, or by a topic or situation, by grammatical groups, by color sets, by story features. So you can make them to categorize or to make these vocabulary books for different categories, no? Okay, so sorry because there was a lot of noise outside my house. Yeah, so here you have these vocabulary books. Remember, you can make your students do it with an alphabetical order, topic or situation, grammatical groups, color sets, or a story feature. So your students are going to organize, and notice this is in order to organize the acquisition and learning of that vocabulary, all right? The other one is like a personal dictionary or word notebooks. marking word stress, adding pictures, putting an L1 translation, putting the word into context. Notice the different parts, adding a synonym, similar to the four square. No, remember that we talked about this technique, the four square, but this is just on a simple paper. Here they are going to make a record, all right? That's why here says vocabulary record system. So in order they forget a word, so they can go to this record, oh yeah, and refresh it. No? So in this personal dictionary or word notebooks, they are going to mark the stress or pronunciation, add pictures, maybe the translation or meaning. No, it depends on you, no? About the instructions, the indications that you give to your students. Putting the word into context, adding a synonym, so you can have here several features, no? Or maybe mapping a word family. So here you have a tree, no, related to the word. No, this is a kind of more advanced, no, analysis. For example, I do this, or I did this with my students at the university too when I taught morphology. So they have to keep a record of words related to the tree word, no? So they have to divide the words into small parts. What in order to get the basic word. No, this is I think this is for more advanced level students. No, mapping a word family. The other one is personalized the words metacognition. So the students are going to analyze themselves. No, so self-test, look for patterns in words, plan and organize a vocabulary record keeping system, as we have seen before. Learn words in their preferred ways. Notice this is related to the strategies of the previous slides, no? The pace, so the frequency that they are going to learn, or the way that they are going to learn these words. Reflect on learning and reviewing regularly, and monitor vocabulary learning. So notice here the different things that they could do, no? Because this is a metacognition. They're going to analyze how they are learning, how they are acquiring the vocabulary, no? Now, here we have one example. This is a simple example. When we talk about the techniques, remember, it doesn't mean that we are going to use just one technique, no? As you can see before, or you can realize when you teach to your students, you can join, you can combine different techniques in one activity, one task. For example, notice this activity. The teacher says, look, he is smiling. So the teacher here is showing this picture. No, it says, look, he's smiling. Now look at me. Notice, now look at me. I'm smiling. So the teacher starts smiling. No, we smile when we are happy. What does it mean? Notice the teacher is not translating the word. No, the teacher doesn't say, yeah, smile, yeah, sonrisa, o reír. No. The teacher is giving or using different techniques in this task. What are the different techniques used to explain the word smile? Can you tell me? What techniques does the teacher use in this activity, in this example? Just one technique? Can you tell me?
Combine techniques.
Yeah, but what techniques?
Different techniques.
Yeah, but what are the techniques? This is a simple activity. Notice, this is a simple task, but the teacher is using different techniques in this activity, in this task. What are the techniques?
Use of gesture.
Aha, that's good, very good. This is one. Using gesture, that's it. Another? Another one? No, no more, no more. Just gesture.
Pictures.
Aha, very good. That drew the picture, no? You can see the picture here. First, the teacher says, look at the picture. He's smiling. Then look at me. So now the teacher is making a gesture. No, he starts smiling. What else? What else?
Repeat after me.
Yeah. Using pictures, using gestures. In this activity, no, in the previous one, just in this activity, what techniques is the teacher using, or the teacher using in this activity, in this example? You told me two. Is there anything else? Is there anything else or no? No, no, no more, no more?
Drawing.
Excuse me, again?
Drawing, teacher.
Oh, I couldn't listen to you well.
Drawing.
Oh, drawing. Yeah,
Drawing.
maybe the teacher draw this picture. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Maybe the teacher did it by himself or herself. All right, notice here the different techniques. We are going to analyze this. The first one is what you told me, picture. Picture on the board. No? Interesting students remember it. The other is the gestures. Facial expression gives meaning clearly. Examples. The teacher give an example. Show how a smile is used as a verb. And at the end, maybe a translation to make sure everyone understands. So notice the different techniques, and notice the different techniques that the teacher uses in this activity. A simple one, notice this is a simple activity, but he is using different techniques. First, he is using visual aids, specifically a picture. Then he said that students need to look at him or look at her, and he or she starts smiling. So he is using facial expression, gestures. Then he is giving or she is giving an example of the word as a verb. When we smile, no, we smile when we are happy. What does it mean? And then he's checking, he's checking understanding. Notice, he's checking the understanding. Maybe the students are going to give them in Spanish, no? Because here, oh yeah, teacher, smile, yes, it's reír. That's it. Notice they could get. So, but the teacher is using different techniques in just one activity. Notice, a very simple activity. That's why what I told you, no? Some techniques you could combine. This is not fixed, no? Because we divided in three. Yeah, this activity, this technique is just for presenting. This is just for practice. This is just to remember. No. You can combine, you can combine these different techniques when you present or teach vocabulary. All right, so here, in order to finish, I'm going to show you the web page that I told you at the beginning, yeah, in order to create your flashcards or cards online. Yeah, can you watch it? Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
Okay, so remember, this is the word page. I'm gonna give you this web page on the chat. I'm gonna write it. Yeah, this is the web page. So as you can see here, you can create, yeah, you have here that type of cards, maybe word cards, one card on one page, two cards on one page, 4 cards, or maybe a word list. No, so here you have a word list. Notice, oh, what happened? What's happening? What's happening? Yeah. And notice how here changed. All right, January is snow, snowman, sledging. So you can here choose a topic. Notice you can choose a topic, or you just can write here. You don't like these topics, you could write it. For example, you could say, yeah, farm animals, yeah, a cow. But remember here, you have to write it with a comma, no? Here you have to follow these instructions. Type your words separated by commas. So cow, here you have a chicken, then you can have duck. Notice, and it appears here, right? As you can see, it appears here, and also you can print. Notice here you have the icon. You can print them, or you can save them, or you can change the border, winter frame, spring frames, designer frames, black and white, no border, the color, align, superlet, the type of, the size of the font, the different kind of fonts. So you have here a lot, all right? So you can use the web page to create your flashcards or wall cards or labels or lists, and you can print them in order to use them in class, no? Now, the other web page that I want to show you is this. Let me see, my free bingo. This is what I told you about the bingo. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So notice here, this is my free bingo cards. You can create here cards to play bingo with your student in your class, or you can play it virtually, as you can see here. Notice, bingo card generator or virtual bingo. So you have here the opportunity to create your cards. Notice, free bingo card generator. You can write a words that you want, all right? Also with numbers, so you want to practice the numbers. And also you can play it virtually here. It is free just until 30 players, no? As you can see here. If you have more than 30, now you have to pay it. Yeah, but it is possible to play with 30 players, all right? Here also you have a video that you can watch, and in order to know exactly how to play virtually, yeah? So notice here, you can use these web pages to teach you to practice vocabulary with your students, all right? Also, there are other pages to create word search, crosswords, and that's a lot of web pages. So we're going to do this when we have the last module, the 10th module related to ICT technology. So I'm gonna show you these web pages, how to create your resources online, how to create word search. There are a lot of pages, but I'm going to show you one or two pages to create that. One of them, I don't know if you have heard about it, in order to create this material, this kind of virtual material, is Educa Play. I don't know if you have heard about it.
No, teacher.
No. Yeah, okay, don't worry.
No,
Next
teacher.
module, I'm going to teach you how to use these kind of web pages. And so next module is going to be so interesting because we are going to take into account how to use technology in our class. And nowadays, you can notice that this is very important. This is very important to use these virtual digital tools in our class. Okay, so we are going to stop here. Yeah, we are going to stop here. Remember, this is the last session of this module 9. Next module is related to ICT. Remember, technology in your class. How to use technology in your class. So don't miss it, please. Don't miss it. It's going to be so interesting. I advise you, please, for the next module, not exactly the first week, maybe for the second week, try to use a laptop, maybe a PC, in order to go with me, in order to create these kind of multimedia resources. Yeah? It's better to use a PC or laptop Because if you're using a cell phone, maybe you're not gonna do it. So you're just gonna watch it. But I advise you to watch it and do it. This is very important in order to remember more. But if you don't have the possibility maybe to use a PC or laptop, yeah, you can use your cell phone. Doesn't matter. But I'd advise you to use this from the second week of the 10th module, yeah? Because the first one, we're going to analyze some definitions of advantages and disadvantages, different types of technologies to use in class. So it's going to be theoretical, the first session. The second, the third, and the fourth is going to be more practical. So for these 3 sessions, I'd advise you to use a PC or laptop. It's better. But don't worry if you have a cell phone, because you know the classes are going to, the sessions are going to be recorded. So you can watch it then, and you can get a laptop or PC. Yeah? So it depends on you. All right. So we are going to stop here. Thanks for your attention. Take care a lot. See you next module. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
You, teacher.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
teacher, so much. Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice
Goodbye,
weekend
everybody.
too.
Goodbye,
Merry
teacher.
Christmas to
Bye,
you,
teacher.
teacher.
Thank you.
Good